When AI gets a promotion, the insurance industry's leadership crisis, a NAPAICC talk. For the last 100 years, insurance companies have been built like military organizations. Executives create strategy, managers create procedures, supervisors enforce consistency, adjusters execute. That's not a criticism. That's how large organizations function. Consistency reduces variability. Variability creates risk. Everyone understands the model. And for a century, it's worked. Until now. For decades, management could tell an adjuster, "We're not replacing full roofs anymore," or "Most plumbing claims fall under the $10,000 water damage limit," or "Engineering should review these files." Whether those directives were appropriate was never really the point. The organization expected consistency. People followed direction. That's what a well-run operation looked like. Now, replace that adjuster with AI. Something interesting happens. AI doesn't care about organizational habits. It doesn't know what "we've always done it this way" means. It evaluates the prompt, the evidence, the policy language, the facts, the logic. And if you ask it honestly, it may conclude that coverage exists, even if everyone in the department expected the opposite outcome. Now management has a completely different problem. They're no longer supervising people. They're supervising reasoning. That sounds like a small distinction. It isn't. The competency gap, here's where the real risk begins. Many insurance organizations have spent decades training employees to execute processes efficiently. That was the job. Follow the file, follow the guideline, close the claim. Now they'll need people who can do something entirely different. Challenge the AI, refine the prompt, recognize flawed reasoning, and know when the machine has reached the wrong conclusion. That is a completely different competency. It's not a training module. It's not a policy update. It's a different kind of employee. One the industry hasn't historically hired for, promoted for, or rewarded. And the scale of the problem isn't linear. It's exponential. Think about the first generation of AI claims handling. One manager builds a prompt. 500 adjusters use it. If that prompt misunderstands one policy provision, the mistake doesn't happen once. It happens thousands of times, in a single afternoon, across every file that touches it. That's not automation. That's multiplication. This is the poetic irony. For years, companies rewarded consistency. It was the highest compliment you could pay an adjuster. Reliable, on process, no surprises. Now, consistency without discernment becomes one of the biggest operational risks in the business, because AI will faithfully execute exactly what you teach it. Correct or incorrect. It does not know the difference. It only knows what it was told. The future claims professional isn't the fastest estimator, or the fastest typist, or even the person with the most policy provisions memorized. The future belongs to the person who can look at an AI-generated answer and say, "That doesn't survive scrutiny." That's judgment. And judgment is becoming the rarest skill in insurance. But I want to push this further, because I don't think the real challenge is whether AI can adjust a claim. The real challenge is whether management knows how to lead an organization where the first opinion increasingly comes from a machine rather than a human. That's not just an insurance question. That's a CEO-level question. And it's bigger than insurance. It applies to banking, healthcare, law, accounting, engineering, and every knowledge profession standing at the same threshold. Every one of those industries is about to face this same reckoning. What happens when the first draft of judgment doesn't come from a trained person anymore, but from a system that reasons faithfully from whatever it's been given, good instruction or bad? And here's the part I think will make this moment memorable, in insurance and everywhere else. The first generation of AI won't replace the people doing the work. It will expose which organizations actually understand why they make the decisions they make. Companies that can clearly articulate their reasoning, The actual logic behind a coverage decision, not just the habit of it, will be able to train and supervise AI effectively. Their judgment becomes the AI's judgment at scale, faithfully reproduced. But companies that rely on institutional habits, unwritten rules, or that's how we've always handled these claims, those are the organizations most likely to watch small errors compound into systemic ones, quietly, consistently, at volume. That's a sharper argument than simply saying AI will make mistakes. AI won't be the one making the mistake. It will be a mirror, reflecting back at scale exactly how well or how poorly an organization actually understands itself. For decades, we hired people to follow procedures. The AI era requires people who know when to question them, because artificial intelligence without human discernment isn't intelligence at all. And an organization that can't tell the difference won't find out the hard way once. It'll find out thousands of times before anyone thinks to ask why.